Now, to unpack all of this is former Assistant U.S. Attorney and friend of the show, David A. Katz. David, thank you for joining us. You know,
Great to be with you, Tisha.
I want to first and foremost ask you, where were you on Wednesday when all of this unfolded?
Well, I was watching it on TV out here in California, and I was getting ready for the debate, about Arizona and, this very scholarly debate that I was expecting the House to have. I was looking forward in particular to hearing from Adam Schiff, who's an old friend of mine from the U.S. Attorney's Office under the Reagan administration. And of course, then all of this mayhem broke out. And, the first thing it reminded me of, to tell you the truth, when they breached the halls was the Iran hostage crisis. Remember when they went into you're probably too young, but I remember when they went into the embassy there in Tehran, and people were shocked and they thought, how could President Carter have let this happen? But, it happens when a crowd breaks through and suddenly breaches security. So I was scared to death that they were going to hold a self-preservation thing. I think the Republican senators may vote for it this time when it goes over to the Senate later this week.
So, David, if you say
they
that
were the victims,
if you say that,
Tisha, they were the victims. They were the would-be hostages. The Republican senators were.
Well, and it's frightening when you look at that video and you see lawmakers crouching down for their safety. In one case, lawmakers are praying, in some cases. And if you say that impeachment is the only option, what is the timeline for this impeachment? I think the American people want to know, if this is going to happen, will it come to fruition?
Well, I think that one good thing is that it will check Trump in a way that I think nothing else will. So I think, let's say Tuesday, it goes over to the Senate. Let's assume for a minute that Trump is mortified, that he is chilled. He won't do anything, at least the last 7 or 8 days. That's some assurance. Of course, if he does start to do anything, the Senate can very quickly vote to impeach and remove him. We call it convict and remove, because only the House can vote to impeach, that is to indict or charge him. But they'll do that, Tisha, Monday or Tuesday, and then it will fall to the Senate. The other thing the Senate could do is they could bring it up after Trump has left office on January 20th. The benefit of that would be that he could never hold public office again. And that is a remedy spelled out in the Constitution. The framers had in mind that someone who challenged our system of government, someone who violated our checks and balances, would never be allowed to serve as president again.
David,
they specifically had this remedy in mind, this remedy of him never being able to serve as president again if the Senate convicts him.
David, you are a criminal defense attorney, so I have to ask you, is there any criminal liability that President Trump could be facing?
Well, after he's left office, that memo wouldn't apply anymore that says from the Department of Justice Office of Legal Counsel that a sitting president cannot be charged. He would no longer be the sitting president. So he could absolutely be charged in federal court. We'll have to see whether Merrick Garland wants to go in that direction. But at some point, the evidence is such. There has to be an investigation, like in any good criminal case. And then once you have all the cards on the table, then the prosecutor has to look at it with a whole lot of different factors in mind. But there's certainly a very strong case to charge him with incitement to insurrection. It's a crime. It's a potentially very serious crime. And some of the other speakers, I don't mean to single them out, but Giuliani, his son, they gave inflammatory speeches too.
All right, the world is watching. Former Assistant U.S. Attorney David Katz, thank you so much for joining us on the Final Five. Still ahead, and Arizona County is making a move to censure the late John McCain's wife. We'll explain why when we return.
We were young and strong, we were running against the wind. FanDuel's simple, intuitive.